Imagine stepping into a world where time isn't just passing, it's killing. Where every year, an invisible countdown ticks down for the oldest among us. And when your number's up, there's no mercy, no escape. Welcome to Clair Obscur. Expedition 33. A game that doesn't just play with your expectations, it dismantles them, piece by piece. You might look at the screenshots and think, it's another stylish JRPG. But pause, because what lies beneath the surface is something far more haunting. It's a game that greets you with beauty, and quietly burdens you with dread. In a fractured world where age equals death, and every expedition might be your last, you're not just fighting monsters. You're wrestling with meaning, and yet it never yells. It doesn't need to. The tension is in the silence between footsteps, the unspoken grief in every character's eyes, the surreal calm before the combat storm. There's a rhythm here, a quiet pulse beneath every turn-based encounter that somehow feels more real, more personal than most real-time games ever do. This isn't just about whether the game is good. It's about how it makes you feel when the screen fades to black. And if you've ever been tired of safe, predictable stories, Expedition 33 might be the quiet revolution you didn't know you were waiting for. Let's get one thing straight, Clair Obscur. Expedition 33 wears its influences on its sleeve, and honestly, it's better for it. You'll catch glimpses of Legend of Dragoon in its world-building, Persona in its tone and tension, a dash of Lost Odyssey in its pacing, and yes, plenty of Final Fantasy in its heart. It doesn't shy away from these echoes. In fact, it embraces them. But here's the twist. It doesn't just imitate. It evolves. This is not a greatest hits remix. It's a reinvention. From the moment you dive in, there's something quietly daring about it. Sure, the style might feel familiar, the UI might whisper JRPG, and the structure might remind you of games you grew up with. But underneath that nostalgia is something stranger, something sharper. A game that uses what you know against you. A game that refuses to coast. It feels like someone took the skeleton of a classic and built something deeply personal around it. Fragile, fearless, and absolutely unique. And that's the power here. It doesn't scream originality. It bleeds. In every decision, in every design choice, there's an undercurrent of, we know what this genre can do. Let's take it further. It's not perfect. It doesn't pretend to be. But that's what makes it stick, because this isn't the kind of game you play and forget. It's the kind that crawls under your skin, the kind that has you thinking about its world when you're lying in bed, hours after you've stopped playing. A story stitched together with influence, but made unforgettable by identity. So, yeah, maybe it looks familiar. But once it grabs you, Expedition 33 becomes something else entirely. If you've been gaming long enough, you've felt it. That creeping sense of déjà vu. Another sequel, another reboot, another safe AAA title that plays like the last 5. And sure, they look great and sound polished, but something's missing. That spark. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33 is the antidote. This isn't some bloated corporate product built to chase quarterly goals. It's a bold, messy, beautiful swing from a small studio, Sandfall Interactive, who clearly poured everything into this world. You can feel it in the way the camera lingers on character expressions, in the atmosphere, in the quiet moments between battles where you just sit in the weight of what's happening. It's a passion project with teeth, and I get it. When someone hypes up a new RPG, your first instinct is probably skepticism. Sure, another artsy indie trying to punch above its weight. But here's the thing, this one connects. It might not have the budget of a mega hit, but it has something that money can't manufacture. Intent. Every scene feels crafted, not churned. Every choice feels personal, and because I respect the journey, I'll keep this review aggressively spoiler-free. No plot bombs, no reveals, just know this. The twists don't just land, they arrive fast, hit hard, and stick with you. This isn't just another RPG. It's the one that reminds you why you fell in love with the genre in the first place. It's new, it's raw. It's exactly the kind of surprise we've been waiting for. What if growing old meant disappearing? Not in the poetic sense, literally. Year by year, age by age, gone. One moment you're living, the next your number's up. That's the brutal, beautiful heartbeat of Expedition 33. It's a world built on grief. Every year, those of a specific age vanish, and the oldest among them embark on a final expedition, not for glory, but for the chance to stop the inevitable. Imagine waking up each year knowing you're one step closer to the ice edge. Imagine being born into a world where growing old isn't a gift, it's a countdown. This story doesn't gently ease you in. It slams the emotional brakes hard and fast. Within minutes, you're not just playing, you're feeling, you're asking yourself, would I raise kids in this world? Would I dare to hope? Would I volunteer to walk into the unknown knowing I might never return? And that's just the setup. The cinematic direction here is razor sharp, tight, focused, deliberate. It feels less like a cutscene and more like a slow, devastating realization unfolding on screen. Performances from Andy Serkis, Charlie Cox, Jennifer English, and Ben Starr don't just elevate the writing, they anchor it. These aren't just characters, they're people staring down the edge of extinction, pretending to be brave. This game doesn't rely on tropes or shock value, it builds dread the way a good novel does, with stillness, with tension, with truth. And just like that, it has you. No turning back. Emotionally, you're in, immediately. Once you set sail in Expedition 33, the world doesn't just open, it blooms. You're not wandering the same old fantasy tropes here. No generic fields or tired dungeons. This is a place where crystallized caverns hum with strange energy. Where sunken cities rest in ghostly silence beneath the waves, and every corner seems to whisper a story you're not supposed to hear. One moment, you're navigating a forest dripping in glowing magic, an eerie calm stitched into every leaf. The next, you're walking through a village filled with sentient paintbrush creatures who look like they've stepped out of a fever dream. And the wild part? It all works. That's the magic of this world. It's weird, yes, but never random. It feels purposeful. Like every design decision, every bizarre detail was placed there to make you feel something. Curiosity, awe, even discomfort. The tone dances a careful line, serious when it needs to be, but never afraid to let you breathe. There are light-hearted moments, banter that feels human, not forced. The kind of writing that respects your emotional range. You'll chuckle one minute and feel a gut punch the next. This world doesn't just look alive, it feels alive. Strange, unpredictable, and dangerously beautiful. And once you're in, it's impossible not to want to see what's just around the next corner. Let's talk combat. Because Expedition 33 doesn't just ask you to think, it asks you to react. At first glance, this might seem like your standard turn-based JRPG setup. You run through somewhat linear levels, encounter enemies, and dive into a classic menu-driven battle. Sounds familiar, right? But don't get too comfortable. Because here, every encounter comes with teeth. Yes, it's turn-based. But there's a twist. When it's the enemy's turn, you don't just sit there and wait. You engage. You're watching for their tells, looking for that exact moment to time a dodge or land a perfect parry. Get it right, and you'll dish out some serious counter damage. Mess it up, and well, prepare to kiss the floor. Even on normal difficulty, this game doesn't pull punches. The window for dodging is tight, brutally tight, and especially during boss fights, it feels like the game is actively testing your patience, timing, and ability to adapt under pressure. It's not unfair, but it is relentless. And I'll be real with you, it kicked my ass. But that's the beauty of it. The challenge isn't frustrating, it's magnetic. Every time you fail, you learn. Every battle becomes this little puzzle of risk and reward, hesitation and instinct. What sets this system apart is how alive it feels. You're not just executing preset actions, you're responding moment to moment. It turns combat into a kind of dance, one where the rhythm is dictated not just by turns, but by tension. It's tactical, it's punishing, and it's incredibly satisfying when you finally nail it. Just when you think you've got the hang of combat, Expedition 33 peels back another layer. This isn't a one-size-fits-all system. Every party member brings their own mechanics to the battlefield. And I don't mean subtle tweaks, I mean entire subsystems that change the way you think. In one character builds up an energy meter to unleash a devastating electric attack. Another operates on a deck of elemental cards, stacking them, withdrawing them, and cashing in big when the enemy's weakness lines up just right. Then, you've got a party member who leaves elemental stains on enemies, essentially painting the battlefield with effects that layer damage and strategy over time. It sounds overwhelming, and it could be, but the game doesn't throw it all at you at once. It unfolds like a good novel, one chapter at a time. That's what I really appreciated. The pacing. You're not slammed with mechanics in the first hour. Instead, they're introduced slowly, giving you the breathing room to actually learn and adapt. Just when you think, okay, I've got this, the game introduces a new wrinkle, and suddenly, you're reevaluating everything again in a good way. It respects your time, but it also challenges your mind. It rewards players who like to think 4 steps ahead, who get excited by layered systems and the satisfaction of setting up the perfect combo. It's not just about hitting harder. It's about setting the stage for something spectacular. In battle here isn't a single move. It's a slow build toward a satisfying payoff. And trust me, when all the pieces finally click into place, it's magic. There's something deeply satisfying about a game that lets you tinker. And Expedition 33 gives you plenty of toys to play with. Let's start with the basics. Weapons. You'll collect a variety of them throughout your journey, each one tied to elemental affinities like fire, lightning, or ice. But it doesn't stop there. You can upgrade these weapons using materials found in the world, tailoring them to fit your playstyle or your current strategy. Prefer raw attack power? Stack it. Want to exploit elemental weaknesses? Tune accordingly. Then there's the stat. Progression, straightforward, but with enough flexibility to keep things interesting. You can dump points into health, attack, defense, or even luck. And while the system doesn't reinvent the wheel, it gives you the freedom to lean into your instincts. Do you build a tanky frontline bruiser, a fragile but deadly spellcaster, or something in between? The skill tree is where things get spicy. You can equip up to 6 abilities in battle, and with choices ranging from area of effect attacks to debuffs and healing skills, the combinations open up fast. One of my favorites involves a character who changes stances, depending on your move and the enemy's status effects, like a living chessboard mid-fight. The best part? It's deep without being overwhelming. The systems unfold naturally, always, giving you just enough to feel empowered, never enough to feel lost. So yeah, whether you like planning every detail or just winging it, this game lets you own your build, and that's half the fun. Let's be real, no game's perfect. And while Expedition 33 comes damn close, there are a few spots where the seams start to show. First off, the UI. It's a lot. At first glance, it's just rows upon rows of equipable bonuses, passive abilities, materials, stats, you name it. It's not broken, but it lacks clarity. Navigating through menus sometimes feels like sifting through a cluttered desk drawer. You can find what you're looking for, but it takes a minute, and maybe a little patience. Then there's the platforming. Yes, you can run, jump, and climb, but should you? That's another question. These sections are mostly optional, but when they pop up, they're awkward. Jumps feel floaty, ledges are unreliable, and there's no real grab system to help smooth it out. It's one of the few moments where the game feels like it's trying to be something it's not. And don't even get me started on the map, or the lack of one. You've got an overworld map with icons, sure. But inside individual areas, nothing, zilch, no minimap, no breadcrumbs. Which is frustrating because this is one of the rare games where you actually want to backtrack and explore. You just don't want to get lost doing it. Still, here's the thing. These aren't deal breakers. They're growing pains. Signs of a game that's ambitious enough to try a little bit of everything. Most of it works, some of it not quite. But even with those stumbles, the experience remains strong. Honest, flawed, but unforgettable. If Expedition 33 had left things right where they were, it would have already been impressive. But it doesn't stop there. It adds polish, depth, and just the right amount of replayability to keep you coming back. Technically, it runs smooth. I played on PC and experienced barely any bugs, just the occasional visual hiccup here and there. A bit of stuttering in cutscenes, some shimmer in hair textures, sure, but nothing that ever broke immersion. And in today's gaming landscape, that level of stability at launch is a quiet miracle. But what really elevates the game is how it lingers. The soundtrack. It's not just background noise, it's an emotional undercurrent. The main theme, the battle motifs, especially the French-inspired tracks, they seep into you. I found myself humming them hours after putting the controller down. Not because I tried to remember them, but because I couldn't forget. And then, there's New Game Plus. Combined with a wealth of side content and hidden areas, it gives you a reason to dive back in. Whether you want to experiment with new builds, chase down sub-bosses, or just re-experience the story with fresh eyes, it's all there. That's the beauty of Expedition 33. It's not content to be just good enough. It finishes strong, with flourishes that leave an emotional echo. It doesn't just end, it stays with you. So, should you buy Clair Obscur Expedition 33? Here's where I land. It's a bold, imaginative, emotionally rich RPG that dares to do something different. A fresh IP with heart, cinematic storytelling, and combat that doesn't just challenge your reflexes. It challenges your instincts. It's strange, it's beautiful, and yeah, it has a few rough edges. The UI could use some tightening. The platforming is clunky. The map system, practically non-existent. But none of that overshadows what this game does get right. And what it gets right, it nails. At $50 with 0 microtransactions, you're getting a full handcrafted adventure. No padding, no filler, just a team of passionate developers giving everything they've got to deliver something that matters. If you're tired of empty sequels or soulless reboots, this one's for you. If you're the kind of player who values emotional depth over polish or ideas over repetition, this one might just hit you where it counts. So I want to hear from you. Did Expedition 33 sneak up on you like it did for me? Did it stick? Did it shake something loose? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk. And if this video helped you decide, tap that like, maybe subscribe and stick around for more. Until next time, let the ink flow.